Wright from the Single Malt Whisky Club here, and frankly, I'm still in shock that December is here so bloody quickly. Another year has just flown by, hasn't it? But I guess we've been drinking some good whiskey, am I right? And in the same vein, we're going to see 2022 out with a couple of sensational whiskies here at the Single Malt Whisky Club. Our malt of the month is a fantastic Tassie single malt with a very bloody unique story. The Remnant Whisky Company's latest black spot release named SMWC in our honour. And our optional extra for December, an incredibly interesting, immensely imbibable intoxicant from Israel, the Milk and Honey Pomegranate wine cask. So, our malt of the month is from the Remnant Whisky Company, and it's the latest in their Black Spot series. The seventh, I think, aptly named the SWMC. That's right, the Single Malt Whisky Club. Yep, exclusively bottled for our not-so-little club. Now, the Remnant Whisky Company. What a story. I'm pretty sure most of us here are aware of, and some of our own members were affected by, a certain Tasmanian distillery's barrel investment scheme that all went bad around 2016. During a buyout by Australia Whisky Holdings, which was recently renamed Lark Distilling again, it was discovered that many of these investment barrels that had been sold to investors were either non-existent, never filled, or filled and then robbed to fill others. It was really quite a sad and sorry state of affairs that left many small investors with nothing at all to show for their investment, or owning a cask that was filled and accounted for, but effectively in limbo, as there was no one to pay out the investment, i.e. the barrels. Luckily, Australian Whisky Holdings bought out the distillery, but although they didn't buy the investors' existing stock, they did agree to manage it until a solution was found. And in 2020, that solution came along in the form of Peter Bignell of legendary Tassie distillery Belgrove fame, and his son Dane, who led a consortium that were determined to rescue these poor casks that were effectively in whiskey purgatory, I guess, and get something back for the investors who still owned the whiskey. And so, the Remnant Whisky Company was born with a stock of 300 casks that they acquired from the Nant whiskey debacle. So, the Black Spot range is their pick of the best casks released in small batches, and our Black Spot, SMWC, is, I think it's their 7th Black Spot release. This one's blended from 2 Apera casks that have been maturing for just shy of 10 years, bottled at about 48.1%, and exclusive to the Single Malt Whisky Club. And as a special favour, they even bottled for us in 700ml bottles rather than their usual 500ml bottles, and for that we thank them. So how does it taste? Well, let's have a look first. There's that colour. Nice, rich brown colour. On the nose, there's sharp green apple fruitiness. It's coated with just a slightly burnt toffee, and then a pleasant new leather note bringing up the rear on that one. And on the palate, yum. It's lovely and rich. There's more tart fruit notes, but also a real mixed peel quality with some warm ginger in it. Nice and crisp, and an underlying maltiness rounding it sort of out. The finish, yum. The finish is delicious and chewy with just enough astringency to really get your mouth salivating. A tart, sort of red fruit coulis, notes warm oak, sweet milk arrowroot bickies, and with a bit of a leather note sneaking in there every couple of twirls around the mouth. Yum. Oh, I'm just going to have a little one more of that. Yum. Whew. Our extra for December is from Milk and Honey Distillery in Israel. From their Apex range comes the Pomegranate wine cask. So the Apex range is Milk and Honey's vehicle, I guess, to try new, interesting, and in some cases, left field maturation and finishing techniques in small batch releases. The head distiller, Toma Goran, personally selects the casks used in the Apex range. Other expressions in the range include STR or shaved, toasted and recharred casks, orange wine casks, cognac, rum, tequila casks, to name but a few. The Milk and Honey Apex Dead Sea expression is aged 423 metres below sea level at the lowest place on Earth, on the banks of the Dead Sea, where temperatures exceed 50 degrees. So I guess Milk and Honey are certainly not afraid to try some new things. The Milk and Honey Pomegranate wine cask is a fully kosher certified whiskey aged in Le Mahindran casks, matured initially in ex-bourbon, then finished for 6 months in fortified pomegranate wine cask before being bottled and certified kosher by the Tel Aviv Rabbinate. And here it is. So, as you can see, it's got a slightly reddish tinge to its sort of brown colour. On the nose, oh, one more thing. It's a cask strength whiskey. I've added a little bit of water to it, just a dash. So on the nose, there's sour cherries, espresso coffee and vanilla syrup. It's also a pleasant mustiness sits behind the other elements. It's, yeah, definitely a unique nose here. Wow. On the palate, very complex palate with many flavours there playing tag along your taste buds. Sultanas, pomegranate, cherries, prunes, aniseed, coffee, and chocolate. And the finish is rather long and dry with notes of white wine, zesty citrus, some toasted oak there, and salty pretzels. Yum. Well, that's all for 2022 for the Single Malt Whisky Club. Guess we'll see you all back in 23. But until then, have a very Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a fabulous Festivus. However you celebrate the holidays, have a safe and happy one. I'm Brad Wright. And until next year, Slay Shabbat.